Hello, Johnny. What can I help you two with today?
It's my snowblower here. Doesn't want to start.
I tried working on it too, but I couldn't get it started either, Taryl.
That's right. You're a little junior grass rat.
He sure is, Taryl. He likes to work on Grandpa's lawn equipment.
One day, I tried to play auto mechanic, and I loosened all the lug nuts on Grandpa's tires, and then he got on the interstate, and the tires started coming off of his truck.
Well, anyway, Taryl, hopefully you can get my snowblower running again. I really need it.
Yeah, why don't you leave it with me and I'll take a look at it and I'll give you a call.
Grandpa! Grandpa! Can we go to Fowler's? I wanna get some camping gear. I'm gonna be an explorer.
An explorer? Oh, that's great, little Johnny.
Yeah.
Sure, we can go to Fowler's. I wonder how much this is gonna cost me. All right, Taryl, well, give us a call, let us know when it's ready, and we'll come pick her up.
Yeah, call us.
Come on, Johnny, let's go.
Okay.
Better check your lug nuts. This thing ain't getting any gas. Something in there. Let me get something to fish that out. Little Johnny, a Ferrari. Whoa, he's got expensive taste. There's something else in there. Ah, what's this now? Another car. This is a Corvette. Oh, that's a toy snake. What is this? It's Kevin Costner from Robin Hood. Oh, come on. What do we got here now? Oh, it's Stink from Land of the Lost. Hey, little fella. What are you doing in there, Stink? Look at him go. Go, Stink, go. Oh, tank is full of toys. Pterodactyl here. And today, YouTube video is going to be when D.I.Y. goes bad. So here we got this here snowblower, this Craftsman. And the customer, I don't know if he did it or one of his buddies, I didn't get the details, but somebody tried to fix it and they weren't successful. They tried. I don't want to, fault them for trying, but they failed and it ended up here anyway. So we're going to go over all the things they did that was wrong. So this snowblower came in. Doesn't run, they said get it running. So I checked the spark, it had intermittent spark. So I thought, all right, well, it's got a bad coil because it's got one of these engines that are made overseas and the parts aren't that good. It's an MTD, even though it's a Craftsman snowblower, it's made by MTD. And I don't know if you know this or not, but MTD stands for Many Troubles Daily. So, found out that this is just an example. This is the same coil that goes on there because this is kind of modeled after a Honda engine. Somebody took the coil off and when they put it back on, they put it on upside down. It sparked, but it had intermittent spark. So they had the coil on like this when the coil should have been on there like this. So I had to flip the coil around. And I also noticed that when I pulled on the cord, it felt like it had no compression. No compression. Almost like maybe one of the rocker arms or something came off. So what I found out was somebody got in there and cranked on those adjusters and it was actually holding the valves open. We had no valve clearance. There were no valve clearance on on the valves. So I was holding the valves open almost like it had a thrown connecting rod. So I had to reset the valves, and they broke one of the studs. One of the carburetor mounting studs. I don't know how they did it, but they snapped the end off. So once I flipped the coil over and set the valve, shot some carb spray in there, it ran and died. And then I discovered that they broke this too. Here's a big crack, and there's a big piece of this insulator plate that's missing. It's broken, so this isn't going to seal right, so this is not going to run right. And then they also said we ordered a new belt for it, so since you have it here, put the belt on. Well, they must have looked up the wrong model snowblower or whatever, and that's not the right belt, because here's the belt that it takes, which I got from Stens, and I had in stock. So yeah, it needed a new belt, but as you can tell, it's nowhere near the size of the belt. And this isn't the belt for the drive. It's not like, because there's two belts, one for the drive, one for the auger. No, this is just totally the wrong belt. So I looked it up, and you can get parts from MTD, but I was having a hard time finding this plate. And then I had to scroll through the parts list, and then somewhere down on the list it showed like a gasket set. So this is the part number in case you got one of these, because I wanted to buy all the gaskets and I wanted to get that plate, but they only sell it in a kit. And we're going to tear this bag open, and I'm going to show you what's in this kit. So this is what you get in this kit in case you need to order this part. So you can see what they broke off, what's missing, this whole big piece here. And as you can tell, it looks like it's been redesigned a little bit. It's got this little part here, which is now like this. And inside this cardboard piece are all the gaskets you need, which I do need the new valve cover gasket because I had to reset the valves. So there's the gasket. Comes in a whole gasket set, exhaust gasket, and all these intake gaskets, and this little washer, a new crush washer for the drain plug. So I figured that out because it doesn't really tell you. Oh, and one other thing. This cable clamp here was busted. And I stocked these. This is pretty common on a lot of these MTD snow throwers. This part was busted. That holds the cables in place. So I stocked these. So there's the part number for that in case you need it. And that's what I charge. Maybe you charge more, maybe you charge less. So I'm going to start with reinstalling the valve cover with the new gasket. Oh, and did you notice my knee pad? Yeah, sent in from a Taryl fan from United Rentals. I guess they do repairs at this United Rentals facility in Arkansas. So thank you for the knee pad. It's very comfy. So let's just put this on. Very simple, 4 bolts, 4 screws, bolts, whatever you want to call them. So as I was reinstalling the valve cover, this 6mm bolt, the threads were stripped out. So you got 2 choices. You could either Healy coil it, or if you got a 1/4 20 self-tapper, which is a little bit bigger than the 6mm. You can just stick this in there because it'll make its own threads and it'll tighten down. It's just going to be a different size. Instead of a 10mm head, you're going to have to use a 3/8. So that's a quick fix if you're in a bind. Use a 1/4 20. See? Nice and tight. Here's the part number for that broken stud. Now when you go to look this up, it's going to show a pair of these. Well, this part number is only for one of them. So now we're going to install the Carburetor stud. Now if you notice, there's more threads on this end than this end. This is the end that needs to go into the engine block, the one with the least amount of threads. So they snapped it off, which had the nut on it, which was an acorn nut. Oops. This is an acorn nut because it kind of looks like an acorn. Maybe a squirrel stole the other one, I don't know, because they thought it was an acorn. So what we're going to do is we're going to double nut. This is 6mm. We're going to double nut this. And that's going to act like a tool to install the stud. So you're going to want to put them against each other. Tighten them up. Now we can install the stud. Now you can put Loctite on there if you want. That's up to you again. Now we're going to want to install this gasket. Now make sure you don't put it on upside down, and be careful. Now in hindsight, I probably should have put the gasket on first, but I figured it would just slip on here, so be careful because it's kind of weak material. You could tear it. So you could have put it on and then put the stud in, but that'll work. Now we got to put our new plate on there. And you can tell from the cutout that it goes like this. And again, we're going to have to walk it on there because these studs, you know, this is the poor kind of craftsmanship. Well, it is a craftsman that we have to deal with nowadays. Close, but not exact. So there's that. Make sure that wire's out of the way. And then this is where our coil wire lays in this here. Get that wire out of there. So that's where our coil wire goes. In those little slots. Boy, is this thing a real POS. This is what we got to deal with nowadays. I'm going to just try to tuck that down in there. That coil wire is like a million miles long. So now we're going to put this gasket on. And from our old part, you can tell it goes on like this. And again, got to kind of walk it on there. And hope we don't tear it. Which I kind of did, but it's on the outside. So that's really not going to matter because this is where it's going to seal. So if you tear it on the outside a little bit like I just did there, don't freak out. It's not going to affect the way it runs at all. Now we're going to put the carburetor on. Now I did peek inside this carburetor off camera and it looked clean. But it, again, looked clean. So now we're going to stick this on. And I don't know if you noticed, but I've got this handle bolt on this thing unbolted. Because if I didn't have this handle unbolted, there's no way you get this carburetor on and off with them handle bolts in there. So you gotta take the handle bolts off. So it's kind of like a Honda. So we gotta get that link in there first. And push it down in there. This is a little tricky because there we go. And then we gotta hook in this spring. The spring is important. This spring kind of helps with any kind of surging. So don't just sit there and think, well, I don't need that stupid spring. And actually on some of these, I've had these things surge. And you know what I had to do to get it to stop? I took a 1/16 drill bit and see where that hole is for the spring? I drilled the hole real close right next to here. And believe it or not, it made it stop surging just by moving that in there. Because that helps kind of take play out of the linkage. I hope this linkage is right too. Who knows, the guy might have been messing with that too. Hope he wasn't in there messing around with that. Alright, so we got that on. Now we can hook up our fuel line. I can take these clamps off. It's kind of stupid, I always thought. Got your fuel shut off on some of these. Is on the carburetor and not on the gas tank. And since this thing had been crimped, it kind of collapsed the hose. Because I had to wait quite a while for that little kit to come in. Not like they had them in stock. Let's see something I may have to... Yeah, I got that wire on the wrong side. Need to get that wire up underneath there. When D.I.Y. goes bad, D.I.Y. Oh, I did put a new plug in it too. I got rid of this thing, this LG F6RTC. And I put a Champion in it, which is an RN9. RN9YC. This gasket goes like this. There we go. And then we got this choke mechanism. And this link. Let's see how this goes on here. Looks like it goes like this. Man. Now I got to turn that little hose clamp a little bit because it's running into the choke. Real nice. Nice. Nicely designed. Must have been some high school kid. I want to be an engineer. Well, that's fun, son. Alright. Now another gasket. And now this, which I disconnected the wires from. where this. What a complicated pile of. Alright, so now this hose, primer hose, goes into there. You know, if I had to own one of these and had to look at this video and all this stuff I had to do to make this thing work, I think I'd just go get a shovel. We're just gonna shovel the snow. Now this vent tube from the valve cover, that's got to be on the outside of this primer. This stuff all gonna fit back together. Alright, now I'm trying to put this crazy cover on, and if you notice there's a little notch here. And if you took yours apart, you probably said, you know, my primer hose was in that little notch. Yeah, well look where the primer hooks up to. Straight down here on the inside of this vent hose off the valve cover. So don't put it back in there. But it's close to the muffin. It's gonna melt. No, the muffin is up here. This is just a kind of a guard. It ain't gonna melt. It'll be fine right there. And then of course they got these spacers here. But everything is just fitting so tight. It doesn't just like slide on. So now I gotta push everything on there. And then this one popped out, which was good, because it kind of made it easier. Man. That MTD should be ashamed of themselves turning out this trash. Okay, we're having trouble getting this bolted back on because this stud wasn't long enough. And what we determined was, again, D.I.Y. went wrong. This is an aftermarket carburetor that somebody bought for this thing. This isn't the one from Many Troubles Daily. And that's why we're having trouble getting this out. So what they did is when they put that on, the D.I.Y.er, when they were able to get it tight, they tightened it down so much that it squeezed this thing and broke it. So now you're getting a little insight of what shops have to go through nowadays to go through stuff. And then this is why you're wondering why things are so expensive. Because you waste an exorbitant amount of time. And in this business, time is money. Because guess what? I don't get this natural gas and electricity for free here. And my guys that are working on this stuff, you know, they're working by the hour. And I'm paying them. And when they're jacking around with this garbage. So note to self. This crap comes into my shop. I know I'm called Taryl Fixes All, but Taryl ain't fixing this crap anymore. So this is what we're going to do. Instead of getting the right carburetor. I'm just going to screw this in a few threads. Yeah, look at it, it's all bent and everything. Jeez. So it'll make it a little bit longer so we can tighten it down. The other stud, we were able to get some threads on it. Yeah, look at this, doesn't even seal right. This is the fuel line. It doesn't even fit on this right. So that's going to be a problem. That's going to leak gas. I can't give it back to the person like that. And then they wonder why it's going to be so expensive to fix. Alright, so what we ended up doing was loosening up this stud a little bit, walking it out some to give us some more treads. Now, we were talking, and me and Slippers and Junior, And we're like, is it an aftermarket Carburetor or not? Because I had another Carburetor from one of these and it measured exactly the same. So we don't know. Again, that's why you got to be a lawnmower detective. You don't know. You got to ask a lot of questions. And it sucks that you have to do that when you take in a piece of equipment. Sit there and grill somebody. You know, what did you do to it? How much work did you do to it? They're like, I don't know. I didn't do anything to it. You know, another thing, people lie, and they lie a lot. That's one of my pet peeves in this business, is the lying. Because you know what? This machine, it doesn't lie. It has no reason to lie. But for some people, for some reason, people think they need to lie, because I don't know if they don't want to look stupid or whatever, but when they lie like that to you, yeah, that makes them look stupid. But this thing is a piece of crap. There's a lot of crap on here you don't even need. If this was mine, I'd cut this part off right here. You don't need this stupid part that goes across the front here that covers this. That's cosmetic. Very difficult to work on. So we back the stud out so we can at least get the nut on there so we can tighten this thing down and see if it's even gonna run. But boy, a lot of you don't realize, but that's how a lot of this stuff is decided. They don't sit there and build this stuff and then go, well, what's it gonna cost? No. You know what they do? They say, you need to build a snowblower and we gotta be able to sell it for $400. And you need to only spend this much money to manufacture it. That's how they do it. They don't just sit there and design it and then they go, well, how much is it going to cost? No, they tell them, this is what you're going to design and this is how much it's going to cost. All right, so now we got that sticking through a little bit. I know you're probably thinking, boy, that Taryl's getting mad. Yeah, because this is frustrating. Gotta hammer that in like a nail. If this was something of quality, all the parts would just slip right on. All right, so we're gonna tighten these by hand. I'm not gonna use that battery impact because I'm scared of this low quality plastic and stuff we're using. They're like, Taryl, why are you being so hard on MTD? That says Craftsman. That's not MTD, that's Craftsman. Sears don't make nothing. Sears is a store. Craftsman is a brand name. Somebody makes this for them. You think over there at Walmart, the stuff they sell in Walmart, they got Walmart customers over there? Or Walmart employees building stuff in the back. Hey, Joe, after break, you got to go in the back room and build snowblowers for Walmart. No, they just put their name on it. It's called private labeling. You can private label stuff. That's how that works. In case you don't know, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know how things work. Yeah, joke works. Here's this. This thing we gotta bend and make fit. Alright, that's our throttle. Alright, our gas is on. This what I'm really crossing the fingers on. Alright, choke. Down that way. There's fast. That's in. Give it a couple pumps. Let's see if this POS will start. But I'm not taking back all them things I said about MTD though. Well, there you have it. We got this here Craftsman MTD snowblower running. Woo, what a job that was. You know what I would do with this thing if I had one of these? And if I was you, a snowbird that lived in two places. Say you lived in Canada and then you had a place in Florida. I'd take this POS down there to Florida and put it in front of my place that I live at so that those Floridians down there would go, what's that? What is that thing? That's a snow blower. They don't know what a snow blower is. So that's what I do with this. This is like something you'd put in, you know, like an Applebee's, they put in an Applebee's. Well, you could just put that in front of your house. Snow blower. So follow me on this channel, Taryl Fixes All. That's me, the mad guy, mad at MTD for producing some POS. If you don't, you know, little kids, don't tell them what POS stands for. Make up something that it says it's a piece of, you know. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Go to our web store, get some Taryl apparel. Like my new hat? We got new hats. I got a new hat. You know where my hat is? My old original hat? It's in the Taryl Museum. That's right. There's a Taryl Museum. All my stuff's in there. My hat, Junior's hat. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Mad! Boy, this thing made me mad. But there it is. It runs. Boy, this guy's going to have a heck of a bill. He's probably just going to leave it here. Probably a snowbird. Probably move to Florida after this. Oh, hey, Gary. Little Johnny. Snowblower's ready to go.
All right, Taryl, yeah, cut the chit-chat. Let's get down to it. What was wrong with the snowblower?
Looks like little Johnny was trying to help you out again, Gary. But his plan didn't work.
Oh my gosh! They're the best! They said they were the best!
Hey, Johnny. You been looking for these?
Oh! My guys! You found them! Oh!
Well, your cleaning crew wasn't able to get that tank clean. And I think the problem was Costner. He can be difficult to work with.
This guy was the best! He said he was gonna get it clean for me, but he failed.
It's okay, Johnny. Taryl was able to fix it.
Oh, well, I'm still mad at this guy.
Hold on there, Gary. There was some other stuff I found in there, too. Looking for this?
What? Johnny? That was my favorite golf shirt. How did that get in there?
Well, I thought it was gonna clean the tank, Grandpa.
And what about this? There's still booze in it.
Ha! So that's where that went. Good luck explaining how that got in there, Johnny.
Oh, the guy said they were thirsty.
I think these are your wife's glasses. Probably looking for these.
Grandma's sunglasses. Ugh! Johnny!
Oh, those were my safety goggles. They fell off.
Oh yeah, and this here imitation gold chain.
That belonged to my great-grandfather. Johnny?
Well, I don't know how that one got in there.
Now there were a couple things I couldn't get out of there, but it shouldn't affect the way it runs. One was a bowling ball, and the other was a Ewok Village playset.
So much for league night. With this bad shoulder, I'm gonna have to borrow an 8-pound ball. Johnny?
Oh, well, at least you got the Ewoks in there to watch over the gas.
I don't know, but here, you want this stuff back? I'm sure it'll be fine once you wash it.
No, you can keep it. Well, thanks again, Taryl. We better get going.
Oh, and this guy, he's a total disgrace. I can't even look at him right now. Oh.
All right, thanks, Gary. See you, little Johnny.
Taryl, can you give me a hand with that? Johnny, what are you doing? What are you doing, Johnny?
And I loosened all the lug nuts on Grandpa's truck, and he didn't know. And he got on the highway, and he was doing like 80. And the wheels started rolling off.
So as I was reinstalling that valve cover, this 6mm threaded bolt was stripped out.